This violation must cease immediately according to the bylaws. You need to sign this acknowledgement now.
I understand your position, but this matter has already been addressed by council.
The first time they tried to lock me out of the water, it was 6:18 a.m. and the lake mist was so thick it beaded on my eyelashes, and there was a fresh steel chain snapped across the dock ramp like I was being grounded. A bored woman stood on the shore in a crisp blazer, holding up a clipboard and acting like she owned the whole shoreline. She shouted that I was trespassing on community access and said she'd have me removed if I took one more step. This is a dramatized story, but the HOA tactics are real. The stake was simple and ugly. That dock is how I launch my small fishing boat and how my kid learns to paddle without fighting waves. If they controlled that ramp, they controlled my mornings, my weekends, and my property value. It wasn't just wood and bolts. It was the reason I bought the house in the first place, and suddenly someone with a bad-shaped keychain thought she could rewrite the shoreline. I tried to play nice. I emailed the board. I showed up to the monthly meeting with my calm voice and my polite face. I even brought printed photos of the dock from the day I moved in. The room smelled like stale donuts and lemon cleaner. They didn't look at the photos. They looked past me. A few neighbors stared at their shoes like the carpet was giving a speech. The bored woman smirked and said, "You should be grateful we're letting you use it at all." So I stopped begging and started building a paper trail. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I took fresh pictures of the chain, the lock, and the posted notice they taped up, careful not to touch it. I measured where the dock posts sat compared to the shoreline markers. I asked the property office for the map that came with my closing packet. Then I filed a formal request for the association's dock policy and any votes tied to it. Funny how fast people get quiet when you ask for dates and signatures. On May 3, 2024, at 9:00 a.m., I walked into a small hearing room with my binder hugging my ribs like a life vest. The bored woman came in with a folder and a grin that said she already picked out my defeat. She leaned toward me and whispered, "You're going to lose." I smiled back and said, "I'm not here to win a fight. I'm here to clear up facts." That made her blink, like I'd spoken a language she couldn't bully. When it was my turn, I didn't do speeches. I did steps. I slid photos across the table. I showed the dock in place before the bored woman even lived in the neighborhood. I showed my closing papers with the dock listed as part of the property features, plain and boring. I showed the emails where they refused to cite any rule. Then the neutral official asked the bored woman one question: "Where is the vote authorizing a lockout?" She flipped pages too fast and too loud. No vote. No date. Just attitude. The mood shifted like a wind gust on the lake. The official asked her to explain why she treated a private dock like a community toy. She tried to pivot, saying it was about safety and fairness. The official didn't raise their voice. They just set down their pen and said the lockout had to stop immediately, and any future changes required proper notice and documented approval. The bored woman's face went pale, then red, like a sunset trying to fight the sun. That afternoon, the chain was gone. The ramp creaked under my feet like it was stretching after a long nap. A neighbor I barely knew waved from their porch and mouthed, "Good for you," then hurried inside like they'd just confessed a secret. At the next meeting, the bored woman sat quieter, flipping her papers like they might bite. I didn't gloat. I just launched my boat at dawn, breathed in the clean lake air, and let the water do what bullies can't: stay where it belongs.